My question is to the Minister of Agriculture and Water Resources. Will the Minister please update the House on how 7 new live export markets and 3 new free trade agreements with China, Japan, Korea are helping cattle producers and cattle processors to in both of my electorates of Flynn and across Australia?
The Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources.
Well, thank you very much, Mr Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for Flynn for his question. The honourable member, who's had a long experience from fuel distributing to being a fettler to being an all-round good fella, he is the person who clearly understands his electorate, and his electorate, Mr Speaker, is one of the primary cattle-producing areas not only of Australia but of I'd say around the globe. In fact, there are more cattle produced in the Fitzroy Basin than in the whole of the Northern Territory. So it's a great industry, an industry that supports the jobs of thousands of people around Rockhampton. I also note the member for Capricornia, who also have a strong interest in jobs around Capricornia, because that's what this government has done. We provide the impetus, we provide the experience that drives jobs and has driven soft commodities to probably the best turnaround it's ever seen in this nation. Mr Speaker, I was very interested today to see on Bloomberg, that was in discussions with the Treasurer, exactly what's happened. And in Bloomberg themselves they talk about Australia's beef exports surge into China. And what they've shown quite clearly, and I'm happy to table this, is that beef exports in the previous 3 years, have reached record levels. And Mr Speaker, it wouldn't be surprising the last 3 years is when the coalition has been in government. They have stated that we have seen a 6-fold increase in 3 years in our exports into China. Mr Speaker, it's the planning that goes behind that. Of course we've got good market conditions, of course there's a protein deficit in the world, and of course we are doing everything in our power to make sure we capitalise on it. That's why we're seeing record prices in beef. That's why we're delivering these better returns back through the farm gate. And that's why even today that we note these better returns, that we can announce that we'll be bringing into the parliament a further section of the white paper. That's the extension of farm management deposits from $400,000 to $800,000. And I know that the member for Maranoa has been very interested and highly supportive in driving that program ahead, driving that facility ahead. This in itself will allow people to be able to offset the money they have in their farm management deposit against the money they owe to the bank. Basically, if they work it well, they'll be able to get a tax deduction for paying off their place, and that's because we want them to have greater equity in their property. So we continue to see this extensive drive and better returns in beef prices, just like we're seeing them in sheep prices, just like we're seeing a turnaround in wine prices, just like we're seeing a turnaround in wool prices. It certainly is great to be part of a government that's bringing real dignity back through the farm gate, that's giving this nation the strongest soft commodity turnaround in its history, that has brought agricultural exports to now our second biggest export after iron ore, and it's happened under this government.